Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy May Day. I'm Afron Framble, and these are the things I'm most excited for coming out in May 2022. Now, I'm going to break from the usual format, games, movies, and then shows. These entertainment update videos were born out of a love for Marvel movies in particular. I used to keep a journal of what was releasing and when, to wait out the monotony of everyday life and to help the time go by a little bit faster. Granted, doing this might be a little bit like watching the clock and actually having the reverse effect. Knowing this, I started to heap everything I possibly could look forward to onto this list. So games, movies, shows, events going on in my life, anything that had a set date. So when Marvel released its post-Endgame schedule, you can imagine I was thrilled to find out all these dates on my calendar going all the way into 2023. And this was 2019 after Endgame had come out. So here we are now, looking forward to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's finally here. I've been waiting for this movie for a while. This is what I would consider the first true MCU movie set to release after COVID. Really the first post-Endgame mix and match of Disney-owned MCU characters. Black Widow was originally supposed to release before everything was shut down, and Spider-Man No Way Home was technically a Sony movie, even though the characters and events tie into the grand MCU plot. And as the third highest grossing movie of all time, I was reasonably very excited for that, and so I was happy it didn't disappoint. But now looking back into the world of pure Disney MCU, I would go as far as to say that the last time we had a non-Avengers team-up, like many are expecting for this movie, was Captain America: Civil War. We already know that this movie features many of the same characters from the first Doctor Strange movie, but we're also including Wanda as the Scarlet Witch for the first time in a full-length movie, and all the new and familiar characters cleverly shoehorned into this hero extravaganza that have been scattered across the internet. I purposely refused to watch any trailers, commentary, or anything that may have hints for spoilers for this movie, but of course I couldn't avoid any thumbnails, so I know there will be some characters that I was hoping not to be anticipating, whether or not they will show up. Honestly, I wanted to go into this like I went into Avengers Endgame. I didn't know what to expect at all. And that movie was really one of my favorites because there was no time to leak or spoil anything within the year between the third and fourth Avengers movies. There were some leaks and some hints, but there wasn't a lot of time to see like Andrew Garfield, like from Spider-Man No Way Home, for example. So Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness releases at the end of the week on the 6th. Now, I'm camping this weekend, so I'll have to catch the Thursday preview on the 5th. I'm so glad movies started doing that tradition of showing movies a day early for just such an occasion as this when I'm otherwise occupied on a Friday. That's actually come in clutch a few times for me. Now, with that out of the way, let's look at the dismal state of games in May 2022. Other than the Evil Dead and the Pac-Man Museum game coming out, there's nothing even remotely recognizable to me. My guess is that many game studios are hoping to release trailers and information in place of E3, which is closed down yet again for this year, probably because of COVID, but also probably for other reasons. I haven't really looked into it, but I'm hopeful to see some information on Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild 2 at some point, and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I may be saying this again at the beginning of June, but after that we can pretty much say I've lost all hope that we will ever hear a word from these studios again. That's just me being dramatic, but still, it's warranted. Now, other than Doctor Strange, here are the movies coming out in May. Firestarter is a movie based on a Stephen King story about a girl with powers that, you guessed it, starts fires. Love in Kilnary is an independent film by Daniel Keith about a town affected by a chemical byproduct that increases their libido. It originally opened on April 8th, but sex sells, I guess, so it's opening nationwide now. This seems like a silly, quirky movie, and the acting is not the greatest, from what I can tell from the trailer, but it's a very interesting premise. I think this will have a small cult following, possibly. Both of these movies are out on May 13th. On May 27th, Top Gun Maverick releases, starring Tom Cruise. a follow-up to the 1986 release. And of course, Maverick is going to outfly, outgun drones and show there's no substitution for good old-fashioned human heart. Also, Bob's Burgers is coming out. I can't imagine this being too different from when the full-length Simpsons movie released. That's my guess. But as I think Bob's Burgers is a little more clever and goofy than Simpsons, I think maybe the movie will be better, but I think it'll probably be relative to the actual show. The same thing that Simpsons, it had sort of mixed reviews. I like the movie, but I think if I were to watch Bob's Burgers, I would like that more than Simpsons, but maybe not more than the show. So 4 shows. I'm going to start with the most anticipated. Obi-Wan Kenobi is releasing on the 27th, with the first 2 episodes releasing on the same date. I'm eager to see what characters they bring back. All I'm hoping for really is Darth Maul with robot legs. Beyond that, I have no expectations and I'm spoiler-free, so we'll see what happens. I was pretty spoiler-free for The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, so I was pleasantly surprised by those as well. Moon Knight wraps up this Wednesday with the longest runtime of any MCU Disney Plus show. This mind-bending debut of one of my new favorite characters and actors hopefully will end the season on a high note, and maybe there will be a tease for what's next to come. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just a Doctor Strange promo, even though that wouldn't be consistent with what the MCU shows have been doing. Just saying, it would be a perfect timing for them to put that in there. I know that the timing of these shows switches around a little bit, so probably won't be that. So other than that, mostly just behind the scenes and documentary stuff on Disney Plus. Still probably worth a look. I like Avengers Assembled, Legends, I think it's called, and I think there's some behind the scenes stuff with Star Wars that I might check out. But also very highly anticipated, even before COVID, Stranger Things Season 4 comes out with Volume 1 on the 27th. I don't know if this means they'll take a page out of Disney's book and stagger the release of episodes, but it's a good model and it builds anticipation to each episode. It also prevents binging for the new shows, which arguably could be good for the mind. In other words, go outside. Get some fresh air. In fact, that's such a great idea. I think I'm going to do that myself. And thanks for watching.